Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Daily Com Check. My name is Brian, and today we're going to be going over the most commonly asked question among public safety professionals such as security, fire, EMS. What is the best radio out there, and how do I know which is the right one for me? This is my personal opinion. I've been on the squad in Edison Township since I was 13, and up until recently, they switched over to a new radio system. But before that, they were using the Motorola XTS fleet. I personally fell in love with the Motorola brand radios, from their HT 750s, which are analog, to the public safety grade, which is the XTS series here. It's been by far the best radio system I've ever had in my hands. Now, I know what everyone's going to say. There's other alternatives. There's different options. For example, yesterday I saw an individual who was public safety using this piece of shit on a shingle, this steaming pile of Chihuahua dog shit in a box. It is absolutely horrendous. Terrible signal degradation. It does not meet mil-spec requirements. It is not FM approved. So if you key this up in a dangerous environment, it has the potential to cause an explosion. This thing is by far the worst thing that you could ever have in your hands and try and control a public safety scenario. It's made by... Actually, no, I'm not going to say the company name because I'm going to get in trouble, but you all know what this is. You've seen it. If you're watching my video, you know exactly what this is. Okay, it's really poorly constructed. The keypad falls apart and rubs off after like a month or two. The speaker port gets damaged if you use the wrong type of mic, like Motorola or a Kenwood type 3.5mm adapter. The buttons start breaking, the belt clip snaps off, the antenna breaks and gives you a shitty signal. It's really not a waste. I mean, it's really not a healthy investment. Even for a whacker to listen to what's going on and act cool, it really does not. It doesn't even look like a public safety radio. It looks like a GPS transponder. So, professional opinion from public safety professional to another, don't waste your time. Don't buy it. It's not worth it. Now, to the main attraction. The XTS series. Unfortunately, the Motorola XTS series is no longer manufactured or supported by Motorola. However, as I drink my cup of coffee, the Motorola XTS series is by far the greatest public safety radio out there to date. The XT, the APX series does not qualify in my opinion because it's a firefighter-made radio. The exaggerated controls like the channel selector knob, the emergency man down, the power switch, the dual screen, the dual mics with the dual wind porting technology. It's more meant for a firefighter radio. And chances are, if you're using it for your own personal use, you're not spending $1,500 to $3,000 for a radio. So the best alternative is, of course, the Motorola XTS 3000. Now, there's 3 different models available for the 3000. This also goes for the 2500 and the 5000, which is right here. They're all made in 3 models. Model 1, Model 2, and Model 3. So, the Model 1 is pretty much your basic radio. Speaker, 16-channel rotating channel selector knob, emergency man down, antenna, power and volume control, and the 3-position zone switch, as well as a toggle switch right here in the back. 3 programmable side buttons, as well as the push-to-talk button. My agency uses these mostly for individuals that are exposed to high-risk environments, meaning that if they drop the radio, it has a greater chance of being damaged. So, the Model 1, the ruggedized version, is the best way to go. Okay? Now, the next step up, and this is what most of my personnel use at the department, and this is also what Tri-State Security Equipment and Communications uses, that we send out to our officers. the XTS 3000 ruggedized version, Model 2. Okay, it's got the same setup on top, concentric switch, man down, and the 3 programmable side buttons on the side. However, it has the benefit of having a LCD screen and a 6-button membrane keypad. This is the limited keypad, okay? It has the home button, the navigation keypads here. Let me try and turn it on. Goes through self-test mode. Okay, so you can select power, view, channel. I don't know if you can see it because we have a little bit of a distance here, but you can navigate through and select your zones. It's a very versatile radio. Okay? The benefit is you obviously see the channel that you're on. You can see if you have an MDC 1200, a GE Star, or an Astro P25 network. You can see the talk group, the ID. If someone hits the emergency button, you can see the unit that's calling, what talk group they're on, what channel they're on. There's a multitude of improvements and a lot more options that you can have if you have a keypad and a screen incorporated, which brings us to the Model 3. Again, same setup on top, same on the side, okay? Same LCD screen, except this has a DTMF keypad. Okay, so that means that you can manually punch in the number of the radio that you're trying to call, key up, call them, let them know what's going on. And it's just a better radio overall. I like this one because you can actually do a lot more. You can type in instead of scrolling to the left or right, trying to see who you're going to call. But these are down-packed, the best series of radios. The 2500 is a quick carry radio version, so it's pretty much just a smaller but expanded version of the 3000. This is my personal radio, the XTS 5000 Model 3. This has a ton of options loaded in it. The 5000 definitely takes the bacon. Definitely takes the bacon. The 3000s are great. The 2500s are great. You know, if you're on an analog system, you can get an HT750, an HT1000, but the 5000, best breadwinner by far. I've had this for 5 years now, and I've had the firmware upgrades and everything, and it just works great. It supports so many functions. Again, it comes in models 1, 2, and 3, which this is obviously a Model 3, and it just works great. Now, the second thing that I wanted to talk about is after you pick which radio best suits your needs, you find out what radio frequency you are allowed to transmit and allowed to monitor. You get all your accessories. The biggest number 2 question that I get is, what kind of mic should you get? You have the Motorola Commander mic, okay? I like this one because it has the volume selector knob, the volume selector buttons on the front, positive for increase, negative for decrease, the man down button, the 3.5 millimeter jack on the side, and the exaggerated push to talk. Okay? This is the 12-inch cord version. That's number 1. Number 2, and this is the most common that you'll see among law enforcement, security, fire, EMS, if they're still using the XTS series, is the ruggedized wind porting technology mic. Okay, has a 3.5 millimeter adapter on the bottom and on the side. So if you're in law enforcement or security, you're doing a background check, a license check, warrant check, vehicle check, and you don't want anyone else privy to what you're discussing or what you're receiving, definitely a great option for you. These are immersible, which means they can briefly be exposed to water, and they will work just fine. I've used these for the fire department in my local township. I have also used them for the rescue squad, and these definitely have excellent volume, and they're very versatile. They're ruggedized. You can drop them, pick them back up, no real problems. These are great. Next up is the Jedi mic. I'm sure we've all seen these in the movies. You see these things everywhere. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but they're not as ruggedized and versatile as the public safety mic, which we'll get to in a second, or the commander mic, or the public safety mic. I personally would recommend these for security because you're not exposed to that intense of an environment, so there's not that much depending on the mic. It's a good mic, but again, It really depends on your environment. This right here is the Motorola public safety mic. Again, you might see this in the movies and whatnot, but these are built like tanks. These can definitely take a beating. They have the antenna receptacle on here, so if you have the RF adapter, which attaches to your radio and connects here on the side, it's supposedly supposed to give you increased radio range, supposedly, but I really don't notice that much of a difference. I use this one from work from time to time. I like it because it has the volume selector, so if I really need to cancel some volume, if I'm dealing with a patient that has schizophrenia or has autism, I can just quickly switch my volume up and down on the basis that I need to. Very large push to talk button on the side. I love that. So if I'm wearing gloves in the wintertime, I can easily find my push to talk button and key up whenever I need to. This also has the 3.5 millimeter jack here and down at the bottom, and has the weatherproofing on the side. Personally, I think that if Motorola had given this a curly extension cord, it would be perfect, but these were designed for public safety. So the straight cord is designed so that it doesn't get caught up on your uniform, your Scott pack, and it just hugs your body a little bit snugger and is a little bit neater. But again, personally, I like the curly Q, like you would see on an Astro Saber, things like that. So real quick, last thing I want to cover today is your carry options. If you get a radio, you get the accessories, that is all well and good until you find yourself having to take off your radio and change zones, change channels, nuisance delete a channel that keeps going off. Best option is to get the leather swivel carry case. Okay, so this is model NTN, Nancy Tango Nancy, 83N1 Bravo. Okay, manufactured by Motorola, and it's designed to carry the entire XTS series. The entire XTS series. Okay, model 1s, 2s, and 3s. The only problem is with the 2 and 3, your keypad is going to be covered. So you might have to swivel off your radio and change zones or do whatever you got to do. But again, it's a lot easier than having to struggle with this. Okay, there's a lot of cheap knockoffs on there. You know, it's just held together by a little pin and a little seesaw piece of metal on plastic. I wouldn't trust a $1 radio on something like this. You drop it, the screen gets cracked.